In a world that glorifies instant gratification, loud opinions, and constant chatter, the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood offers a radically different hand, perhaps controversial teaching. Hear, see, and be silent. This mantra, passed down by Grand Master Waxira, is a cornerstone of spiritual wisdom, emphasizing patience, discipline, and the importance of remaining silent until one's spiritual understanding has fully matured. The dangers of speaking too soon. The Brotherhood warns against the common tendency to prematurely discuss or share spiritual insights. Why? According to Grand Master Waxira, discussing spiritual teachings that have not yet taken root in one's consciousness is like digging up a seed before it has had the chance to germinate. The act of unearthing the seed does not help it grow. Instead, it stunts its development, and in some cases, kills it entirely. Spiritual growth, much like nature, operates on its own timeline. It cannot be rushed or forced. A student who constantly speaks about incomplete understanding risks exposing themselves to the dangers of misinterpretation, confusion, and even ego-driven delusions. Grandmaster Waxira compares this to scattering seeds on rocky ground. Without proper preparation and silence, these seeds of wisdom cannot take root in the soil of the soul. The power of silence? Silence, according to the Brotherhood, is not passive, is deeply transformative. When a student remains silent, they create space for reflection, contemplation, and true assimilation of the teachings. Instead of seeking validation or engaging in debates, the student focuses inward, allowing the wisdom to grow organically within their consciousness. The Brotherhood teaches that silence also serves as a shield, protecting the student from external influences that can distort their spiritual journey. Just as a young plant is vulnerable to harsh weather, a novice on the spiritual path is vulnerable to misleading teachings and conflicting ideologies. By maintaining silence, the student safeguards their progress and avoids unnecessary distractions. Knowing when to speak, the Brotherhood does not advocate for eternal silence. On the contrary, it recognizes that there comes a time when the student must step forward and share their understanding with others. However, this can only happen when the student has reached a level of maturity and certainty in their spiritual path. This maturity is not measured by intellectual knowledge, but by an internal knowing and alignment of thought, feeling, and consciousness. The Brotherhood describes this stage as a natural flowering, where the wisdom within the student blossoms effortlessly and radiates outward. At this point, the student no longer speaks to impress or convince, but to serve as a guide and a light for others. Commitment to a teacher. Another key teaching of the Brotherhood is the importance of remaining loyal to a spiritual teacher until one is fully grounded in their practice. Grand Master Waxira explains that constantly switching teachers or spiritual systems is like transplanting a sapling from one soil to another. It disrupts its growth and leaves it weak and unstable. While seeking new perspectives is not inherently wrong, the Brotherhood emphasizes that true growth comes from depth, not breadth. A student must dive deeply into one teaching, one tradition, and one teacher before branching out to explore others. Only then can they discern truth from illusion and avoid the pitfalls of spiritual superficiality. Call to patience. In today's fast-paced world, the Brotherhood's emphasis on patience, silence, and loyalty may seem counterintuitive or even controversial. But as Grand Master Waxira teaches, spiritual growth is not about keeping up with the trends or impressing others. It is about cultivating an inner strength and wisdom that cannot be shaken. So, the next time you feel the urge to speak or share prematurely, remember the sacred words. Hear, see, and be silent. Allow the seed of wisdom to take root, grow, and blossom at its own pace. For when the time comes, your voice will not just speak, will resonate with the power of truth.